This is problem number 10 from the H10-7 homework. Again, it's going to ask us to determine the number of terms n in this geometric series. The geometric series goes -4 plus 16 minus 64 plus 256, and so on there. It looks like the sum of the series is going to be 52,428, okay? So, by giving us this series here, we know the first term is going to be -4. And since the second term is positive and the third term is negative here, we know that r has to end up being a negative number. And in this case, it's -4. But we still don't know how many terms there are. So that's obviously what it's asking us to find in this one. So with this here, since they're giving us the sum, we're going to use the sum equation to help us find the value of n. So our sum equation, remember, is S sub n equals our first term times r raised to the power of n minus the first term, all divided by r minus 1. So let's take it and let's substitute in the values that we know. We know that S sub n, right, the sum of n number of terms should be 52,428. We'll put that in here first. 52,428 equals our first term, -4, times another -4 raised to the power of n. Then we're going to subtract another -4. And this is all being divided by -4 minus 1. Okay, so that's going to allow us to help us solve for n. So let's just simplify it a little bit. We have -4 times a -4 to the power of n. Can't do anything there. We're going to add 4 instead of subtracting the -4. And then underneath here, -4 minus 1 is -5. So we've got 52,428 equals that expression. Now let's just go ahead here. Let's get rid of the -5. So we're going to multiply each side times -5. And after we do that there, we should have -262,140 is equal to -4 times a -4 to the power of n plus 4. Now let's subtract our 4 from each side. Be careful when you're doing this because this is a negative value that you're subtracting it from. So -262,144 is what we should have there, is equal to -4 times a -4 to the power of n. Now let's just go ahead here. We'll divide each side by -4. And after doing that there, the 262,000 divided by the -4 should be 65,536. Now you can get all these numbers, hopefully, just using the calculator. Okay, now what you're going to see here is this is -4 to the power of n is equal to 65,536. So let's talk for a moment here because this is where some people may run into problems. Right? Sometimes when we solve these here, we try to take them and rewrite them in log form. But if we do this, check out what we have. We have log base -4 of 65,536 equals n. Now, if you tried to type this into your calculator, you'd run into a problem here, right? Because you can't have a negative base under log. So something that we need to think about just as math students here, if I have a negative base here and I'm raising it to an exponent and my answer is a positive, okay, then what do I know about n? N is going to have to end up being an even number, right? N is going to have to be an even number because when we do a negative times a negative, we should end up with a positive in the end here. So since we can't put this into the calculator, let's just rewrite this problem as 65,536 is going to equal a +4 to the power of n. okay? Because when I multiply, positives times themselves, it's going to end up giving me a positive anyway here. And since I can recognize the fact here that I'm going to have an even number of terms here, so it doesn't really matter if I use a positive or a negative as my base. So we'll rewrite this as log base 4 of 65,536 should equal our exponent. And we can use our calculator to get that value. So let's do here, we'll do the log base 4 of 65,536. And when we hit enter, you'll see we get 8. And it needs to be like a whole number, right? If you get a decimal, something's wrong because you can't have part of a term number, right? So we have n equals 8, which means here that there are 8 terms in that series. That's it. If you have questions about this one, please reach out to your teacher there. I know that last little bit can be a little confusing there, but if you just kind of use your, just math sense there, it hopefully will help you out.